Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gadha M, a PhD scholar from Department of Social Work in RGNIYD. So my topic is Beyond Policies and Enrollment, a study on higher education of scheduled caste youth in Tamil Nadu. So higher education is always considered as investment in human capital, and SDG address other educational instrumental roles of education in supporting the sustainable development agenda. So education breaks the intergenerational transmission of poverty and positions society for sustainable and inclusive development. But when we considering India's higher education sector, we can see that it have gone to better advancement in terms of enrollment and number of institutions. But when we're looking into the other marginal institutes, they're still not enrolling, not completely going into the higher education sector. So in this study, I'm focusing only on the scheduled caste youth, that too enrolled in Tamil Nadu. So when we're considering other states, where SC population are more, Tamil Nadu is having a positive trend. So this is an attempt to find out what are the achievements happened in Tamil Nadu in enrollment, and what is the state measures taken by the Tamil Nadu to make more inclusive to the SCU, this higher education sector. And still we have enrollment data, but still we don't have a data beyond the enrollment in higher education. So that is a drawback of for analyzing it. So it is an attempt to analyze that beyond policy and enrollment at the field level, how it is. The objectives of the study is to describe the achievement in enrollment of SC youth in higher education in Tamil Nadu, and to analyze the measures taken by the Tamil Nadu state to ensure inclusion of SC youth in higher education, and to identify the gaps in implementation of policy for successful participation of SC youth in higher education. The data and methodology, mainly secondary data used and primary data also collected from 4 government arts and science colleges in the state from different 4 districts. So secondary data mainly obtained from All India Survey of Higher Education, that from 2010 to 2020, and higher education policy note of the state also analyzed, and Adi Dravidar, which is called for SC scheduled caste in Tamil. So Adi Dravidar and Tribal Welfare Department policy notes for the last 3 years also analyzed for this study. So this study used a descriptive come explanatory research design, and the multi-stage sampling also used, and the total sample size was 319. So when we look into the achievement of the state, you can see that when we considering with the national and Tamil Nadu state gross enrollment ratio, you can see that Tamil Nadu is much have a positive trend, because it have a 39.6% enrollment in 2019 and 20. And all these 5 years, last 10 years itself, we can see that it is far better than the national average. And when we're considering other states which have more SC population, you can see that Tamil Nadu, like Uttar Pradesh, have more population in population share of SC. And in 2019, we can see that 39.6% enrollment in Tamil Nadu, while Uttar Pradesh have 23.6%. But still, when we considering the state data for the old category and the SC category, we can see that there is a disparity. We can read this data as if you are an average Tamilian, like you have a chance for getting enrolled into the higher education is 51.4%, while if you are an SC category, then your chance becomes 39.6%, which means that there is still disparity between the SC category and other community. So there are some state measures which is very inclusive measures have been taken by the state to include this category. When we look into the budget allocation for the education in Adi Dravidar and Tribal Welfare Department, we can see that almost above 80% share of the budget, all budget is allocated for the educational purpose. This is not only for the higher education, it is all covering the all education like primary, secondary, and all technical, every education sector. So this is a positive trend seen in the state. And there are many schemes, like we can categorize into financial assistance and material and other assistance. And in terms of scholarship, they give post-matric scholarship, overseas scholarship. Cash awards are given for those students who are securing more than 60% above mark in UG and PG. And fee concession and exemption. This is a very practical and very beneficial scheme which is implemented by the state. And hostel facilities are there, free laptops are given, free textbook are given, and free bus pass in government buses are given, and SIM card and data. This policy measure was being taken in the time of COVID-19, and grievance are also functioning. And when we look into these measures, we can look measures to increase the accessibility. We can see that in 2007 and 8 year, they have introduced shift system in all government and arts science college, so that more students can enroll in college. And this extended to the polytechnic colleges in 2009 and 10. And exemption of all compulsory and non-refundable fees in government and aided and self-financing colleges have been implemented. And this for this purpose, they have constituted fee fixation committee. Though this fee fixation committee will fix the fees, and this amount will be directly given to the self-financing and other colleges by the government. So we can see that this is very important when we look into the share of self-financing colleges in the higher education sector. In higher education sector in Tamil Nadu, we have only, like in 2018, only 83 colleges, but in self-financing colleges, it is 496. So this measure is very much important in taking this SC population more to enroll in higher education. So now I'm moving to the what the reality of the field. So there is a measure called free bus pass, and when we're checking it with the data from the field, we can see that where I was collecting data from 4 government colleges in 4 districts, and in one government college, 2 government colleges have only proper data, proper transportation facilities, and most of the students, like 85.9 students, are depending on public transport, and others are using by walking, 2-wheelers, bicycle. That is actually a small number of students are coming like that. And 14 students are only benefiting the hostel facility. Only one college having the hostel facility. So SC youth coming from minimum 500 meter to maximum of 142 kilometer. And mean score for the distance of between college and home is 24 kilometer. And two colleges does not have any transportation facility, so they depend mostly on share auto and other private bus facility to come to college. This photo which I taken when I was doing my field work. So in private buses, they don't get free access. So one of the student was telling that she used to spend around 40 rupees per day to reach college, which is actually for them, it's additional financial burden. So availability of other various scholarships, like scholarship is there provided to all SC students, and all students are aware about this scholarship. But about other scholarships like cash award and overseas scholarship, you can see that only a minimum number of students are aware about these schemes. And scholarship is not given monthly, like it is not issued monthly. So that is also creating a financial crisis among the students. So suggestions: awareness creation on schemes and programs among SC students should be created, and career guidance and counseling and mentoring are very critical. And travel concession for students in private buses will be more practical. And disbursement of scholarship amount on monthly basis. And SC/ST hostel should be made a learning cum career facilitation center. And data should be maintained by the college and universities on higher education dropout and successful completion of higher education. Even the total number of SC students from the college, a consolidated data getting is very difficult. We have to go to every department and collect the data. That was the situation when I went to these colleges. So state level research on higher education dropout can be done by done to understand the challenges and difficulties encountered by the SC youth in higher education. So state can take research and have like the data should be maintained to analyze beyond the enrollment and like successful, how successful they are in the higher education to know that. So limitation of the study was conducted only in government arts and colleges. Major share of the colleges are in self-financing colleges, which is not covered in the studies. And other streams, engineering, polytechnic, medical education, etc., are not covered in the study. And scope of the study, there is a scope for other exploration to each policy measures and to each policy measures and implementation, and impact and effect on this policy on SC youth. How that is impacting this for their successful completion can be taken further studies. So I conclude with this. These are some of the references which I used for the study. Thank you.